Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Bachi Boys podcast. We apologize for not having an episode out last week. A little under the weather on both sides, but the boys are back. We are here to recap college football week 4 and to get into the NFL preview for week 4. All that and so much more starts right now. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Bachi Boys podcast. Davis, we are back after a little hiatus to get the people back into some football.
Yes, we are. It was a great week of college football. Very crazy week of NFL. A lot of upsets. Can't wait to dive into it.
Yeah, seriously, Davis. We got a lot to get to. My voice is sounding a lot better. You guys would not have liked it last week. It was crispy. It was raspy. It's not podcasting voice, and I'm back to discuss a lot of sports. Davis, let's not waste more time. Let's get right into it, starting with the college football world. Start off with a little recap of the last week before we get into this upcoming week. Davis, let's start with the biggest game. Quite a shocker in the big house. USC went into Michigan being the 5.5-point favorites, but ended up leaving with a 3-point loss. Very, very interesting. It sucks. It sucks as a Penn State fan. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, I mean, as a Penn State fan, we wanted USC to win. It's so counterintuitive to how I grew up as an Eagles fan and an NFL fan, but basically we want the teams to win that we're going to play later down the road. I know we hate Michigan. I am always going to root against Michigan, but we not only were rooting against Michigan, but we were rooting for USC. We only play them here in about 4 weeks, 3 weeks actually.
Yeah.
It's going to be very interesting to see. This USC game came down to the wire, and honestly, credit to Michigan. I definitely did not give them enough credit to start the year. I'm still not going to give them the credit a lot of people.
I was going to say
that. But I think this USC team's very good, and they actually have a defense this year. Michigan just found a way to pull through, and their quarterback, Alex Orji, it's a very crazy name, only threw for 32 passing yards. So this is the Michigan way, and it worked again.
Yeah, it definitely is the Michigan way, ground and pound to the extreme. And it worked, and it will continue to work. And thank God we don't have to play them this year because, like you said, Davis, this is a frisky team that I don't think Penn State would want to play this year. It's just too risky and such a big year for the program. Let's go to the other Big Ten matchup. It's cool seeing USC and Michigan saying that's a Big Ten matchup. But going to the other Big Ten matchup this week, Illinois and Nebraska. Sort of a shocker last Friday night, Davis. The Fighting Illini pulled out. I don't want to say an upset, but kind of an upset going into Nebraska, winning in overtime. Their quarterback, Altmaier, I think looked really, really good. 4 touchdowns against Raiola, the freshman stud, standout / Mahomes impersonator, whatever you want to call him. But the Illini look good, and the Illini, Davis, have a very, very, very important matchup with our Penn State Nittany Lions this Saturday night, which we will be in attendance of. So this was a huge win for the Illini coming into a marquee matchup this Saturday night.
Yeah, look, the Illini team over the last 10 years have been defense, and it was zero offense. But it looks like Luke Altmaier might have something to say about that, to be completely honest with you.
31 points.
Taking down Nebraska when Nebraska has all this hype coming into the year. Dylan Raiola is the answer. I still do think Nebraska is a very good team. I really do. I'm not saying that this one game is going to tear them apart. But I think it just shows that this Illinois team is legit. I saw a stat earlier today that over the last 8 to 10 years, Illinois has never – this is a crazy stat – Illinois has never had a season where they average more than 2 points per drive. That just shows how bad their offense is. Usually those numbers can be way closer to 3.
Yeah.
A lot of drives during the year. You want to be in college football where there's a lot of points. You want to be averaging at least a field goal every single time you touch the ball. This Illinois team is right here at 3, so they can put themselves in the mix as being a top half offense. I'm not saying a top 25 offense, not even close, but a top half offense for sure. Luke Altmaier I think he is a very good quarterback, and I think it's going to be a very frisky game against Penn State, possibly in the rain this Saturday for a top 20 matchup at night. This is going to be crazy. Unofficial whiteout for the Nittany Lions. I can't wait to go.
Yeah, I'm really excited to go to that game for sure. And hopefully it's close. Penn State had a little trouble with Bowling Green last time at home, so we'll see. But Davis, that Illini win was huge for them going into this weekend. Another program that kind of shocked people pregame, at least. James Madison smoked the living crap out of the Tar Heels of UNC, 70-50. That is a basketball score, full-on basketball score.
Yes, it is.
70-50. The JMU Duke Dogs, whatever you want to call them, get that big win in Chapel Hill. Dude.
Yeah, this North Carolina team is not legit. And it's tough to say because, I never had them, competing for the ACC this year, but it sucks even more when your quarterback goes down on about the 3rd or 4th drive of the season, basically tearing his ACL and any other ligaments that are in your knee. Max Johnson went down in that first game against Minnesota. North Carolina is actually now running their 3rd string quarterback. They're running a senior, basically playing a senior over a freshman. Look, this game at halftime was 53-21. You could say that could be a basketball score, maybe 40 years ago. But this James Madison team was frisky. They had a fake punt. They had a scoop and score off of a blocked punt. Their offense just looked like it was on all cylinders. This was a nice hit for me, betting wise. Ended up taking JMU. They went for 2 a lot, by the way, in this game, which I thought was interesting because it worked. They were up 11-0 in this game, and we're getting the ball back, and we're still plus 130. I hammered it, and I never really had to turn away from the screen.
Yeah, easy win. Is this the group of 5 representative possibly?
At the moment, I say no. I still think JMU does have to prove themselves in a weak Sun Belt conference.
For sure.
At the moment, I'm still putting Boise State up there. I think Boise State is the Mountain West probably is the toughest of the group of 5. I would say strength of schedule wise.
Yeah,
I think that's going to be really important coming down to the end of the year. And they kept the game very close with Oregon. So if Oregon even, assuming Oregon probably ends up as a top 5 team in the country, Boise State has an excellent resume if they go 11-1.
As long as they take care of business, I completely agree.
Which you never know.
Yeah, I mean, look at this team in the bottom left-hand corner, Kansas State, a top 15 team coming into this weekend. They got blown out by BYU. They lost 38-9, Davis. You rarely see a ranked team get full-on blown out like this. I mean, on the road, but still. It's kind of a shocker to see that. Is BYU good in the Big 12?
Yes, BYU is a good team this year. Look, Kansas State was only favored by a field goal. This shows how much home field advantage matters, and especially in college football. And guess what? BYU has a tremendous home field advantage that a lot of people don't know of. Their defense just played phenomenal. They kept Kansas State off the ball, and Avery Johnson didn't look like himself. Avery Johnson might be a top 15 quarterback in college football this year. And he ended the game with only 130 passing yards and just above a 50% completion rating.
He's probably a year or 2 away.
He is probably a year or 2 away, but I mean, this is a game that came in with a lot of hype, and this is where you got to start looking at those home dogs against ranked opponents because they cover the spreads a lot. And this, not only did they cover the spread, they won.
They whooped that ass.
They whooped that ass 100%. But it takes me to my next point. The game right to the right of this.
Yeah.
You might wonder why I put this on here because I have a point to make here. Buffalo played against Northern Illinois. Northern Illinois is coming off a game. They had a bye week last week. Coming off a game where they shocked the world.
The Cinderella story.
Beat the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame at home. I just want to throw it out there, Ethan, that I think these are always letdown spots, especially when a team gets to a ranked position like this that is a group of 5 school that probably didn't deserve it. I don't think any MAC school deserves to be ranked. And if there is one that deserves to be even close, It's probably Bowling Green, and they're 2-2.
Really?
They're 2-2, and they played a one-score game against number 9 Penn State, and they played a one-score game against number 24 Texas A&M.
Okay.
These are, I mean, the way they play on offense is tremendous. But it doesn't. Besides the point, please never let me bet on the sexy team that just came off an upset, because it's never gonna happen. This Buffalo team is pretty decent, by the way, too. And Northern Illinois was about a 17-point home favorite. If they didn't beat Notre Dame, this probably would have been a 6-point favorite. But just because of that, they played 4 good quarters. Shouldn't mean, in my eyes, a 10-point swing in the side of the ranked team.
So it's your job to save us money the rest of the year on a spot like that, Davis. Just going forward, we need that, because it sucks to see the Northern Illinois Huskies go down in a spot like that. That was probably somewhat of an easy win. Like you said, that Notre Dame one was a program definer, but unfortunately the story ends here. Speaking of a story that's not going to end, though, the Colorado Buffaloes quietly 3-1, Davis. I think this is somewhat of a pick'em game going into it against Baylor. I think, they were definitely at home, but a lot of people like Baylor, including you.
Correct.
But the Buffaloes pulled out a win in overtime. Kind of needed some late heroics, I want to say. Shador had a crazy Hail Mary touchdown. And then Travis Hunter, I believe, had a last-second interception to seal it. Or deflection, I don't know. I don't remember. I just remember seeing a highlight on Saturday night. But nonetheless, the Buffaloes with the win. And are they in the same spot they're in last year? 3-1, correct?
They may have been 2-1, or maybe 3-1. But
regardless, they didn't have that defining ranked win like they did against TCU in week 1 last year. But this is still a very good start to the year for Colorado, man. They definitely still have to play some tough teams like Arizona coming up, I think, right?
They play UCF, Kansas State, Arizona.
UCF.
They get the brunt of the Big 12 coming up. Ethan, I don't know what their over-under in wins total is right now in Colorado. My guess would be 5.5. Seriously, 6. I think 6 would be a solid number, and I'll take the under. Look, Colorado needed crazy heroics to win this game. They needed a Hail Mary to win this game, and they needed legitimately a forced fumble at the goal line. Look, Travis Hunter made a fantastic tackle. He put his shoulder right into the ball, textbook. But this team needed so much luck to win this game. I'm not saying that they don't deserve the win, because they did. They played very well. Their defense didn't play fantastic, but this Baylor team is bottom half of the Big 12. This is not a program defining win for the year to get them to 3-1 to get them a chance to.
They're keeping the wheels turning, though.
Playoff. I think this Colorado team is going to start to struggle. They have a tough schedule starting at UCF this weekend, where they're going to be 14-point dogs. I think KJ Jefferson is going to destroy this Colorado Buffaloes team.
Interesting.
I'm not saying that they're going to win by like 20, even more, because that
kind of sounds like it.
But I think that's probably the side I'm leaning. I'm gonna stay away, but that's the side I'm leaning.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Davis, before we move on to this upcoming weekend, let's take a second to breathe and look at the current playoff bracket in college football. Right now, we see Texas being number 1, Ohio State 2, and then it gets a little shaky, Davis. Miami 3, possibly. Utah 4. I know this is a certain analyst, Nick Bromberg's playoff picture.
Yahoo Sports.
Yahoo Sports.
It's pretty general when it comes to just like, hey, look, if the favorites are going to win the conferences, how they stand right now, this is probably how it's going to look.
Yeah, which I would agree. I think Miami is probably the favorite to win there. Utah probably the favorite to win there. But Davis, very interesting matchup this weekend that we're going to get to. But, I mean, these games look fun. These games look so fun.
They do.
Bama going to have to play Missouri in a SEC first-round matchup. That sounds beautiful.
Which is going to be
Oregon,
which would be at Tuscaloosa. That would be. I just
can't go to Knoxville. Come on.
Don't give me the checkered. Don't give me the checkered.
That would be tough.
Orange and white checkered.
That would be tough for sure. And then imagine, Davis. I mean, it probably wouldn't happen, but imagine Boise State goes to Athens and takes down the Bulldogs. This is the college basketball flair that we needed. I know we don't have March Madness, but college is about the heroics, the uncertainty, and college football usually doesn't have that, but this is the chance to add that. Like an upset like that could change so much for Boise,
100%. I mean, these playoff. This is why they added the 12th spot to be a Group of 5 team, because everybody deserves a chance. We saw, I believe it was UCF. Did they go undefeated 2 years in a row, and they still never had a chance to make the 14 playoff? Or
technically they won the national championship one of those years too, right? And
they claimed an unofficial national championship.
They beat Auburn, who beat Alabama that year, right?
Yeah, I think they ended up being the only undefeated team that year.
Yeah.
Look, the idea of unofficial national championships has been long gone. That's the only reason the Maryland Terrapins have their only national championship. 1950. Remember it closely. They were one of two undefeated.
Long before
teams, one of two undefeated teams, and they just claimed it and they took it. Good for them. But yeah, this is how it stacks up right now. I mean, this would be so exciting, Ethan. It sounds crazy to say that we're in September, but I don't know how. I don't think this is going to change too much teams wise.
Well, Davis, we have our first opportunity for major shakeup this weekend. Go to the next slide. Let's start right in the middle, Georgia and Alabama. I had to double take yesterday when I was looking at the ESPN website. I didn't realize this game was this weekend. This is huge, super huge. These two teams obviously played each other in the SEC championship last year. Alabama squeaked it out, and I think a lot of people picking Alabama before that game, but still kind of a shocker, beating Georgia, giving them their only loss in 2 seasons, basically. Georgia's looking for blood. They definitely struggled against Kentucky last weekend, but Davis, they are looking for blood. This is going to be such an interesting matchup. What's nice about the 12-team playoff is a game like this won't end another season or significantly damage it. It will put one team in the driver's seat and the other not. But, dude, this is so exciting for the 12-team playoff.
100%. And, this is going to be Alabama's first home game as a dog since 2007.
Wow.
Very interesting.
That's a dynasty right there.
That is a dynasty. And, I think Alabama has a good shot at doing it. I mean, look at these home teams and the way that they're, look, I know I told you 2 weeks ago, Alabama was going in and crushing Wisconsin, which they did 42-10. But look, Georgia struggled with a pretty bad Kentucky team. And I trust Jada Milroe 10 times more than I trust Carson Beck. I think this Alabama team is much more well-rounded on the offensive side. I'm going to go with Alabama in that game. And I think it's going to be maybe the best game of the regular season. I know we still have Oregon and Ohio State later on this year.
Yeah.
The whole debacle of October 12th being heaven for all college football fans. But I think my preview on this game is that it will be the best game of the regular season.
I like it. I hope so. What sucks is that we will be at the game below that, Illinois Penn State. We will be inside Beaver Stadium while this game is happening.
Correct.
But this is the kind of game that if Penn State's kind of killing Illinois third quarter, I might look at you and be like, Georgia, Alabama? And you're going to be like, yeah, Georgia, Alabama. And
we're going to be screen
We'll
watching.
see. But let's just give a quick matchup overview for Penn State, Illinois. Is Penn State going to cover?
I don't think so. I'm being completely honest here. When I saw this number jump out at 17.5 when it opened, I thought that was crazy.
Trap line for sure.
I thought that this was going to end up being bet down way past 13. Yeah,
closer 10 or 11.
Closer to like 12.5, I would have guessed. Maybe
I think that's even a little bit much, judging by how Bowling Green tested Penn State at home.
For sure. And I will tell you right now, a lot of people are on Penn State right now, which I think is kind of crazy, to be completely honest with you. I know there are a decent amount of sharps that are already on Penn State. And when you start looking at the numbers when it comes to like betting splits on like money and all this, we're seeing a lot of sharps like Penn State, but 92% of the bets on this game so far are on Illinois. So there's a reason why this line hasn't moved yet. And it's because the Sharps are still hammering the minus 17.5. I think they're crazy, to be completely honest with you. I don't say that.
It feels like that.
I don't say that very often because these guys who do it professionally, they're my heroes. I love listening to their insights and analytics, and a lot of them are on Penn State. And I'm going to take Illinois plus 17.5 as a professional here on the podcast.
Jesus. You gave all that just to say Illinois 17.5. That's fine. I took Penn State not Penn State, but obviously took Penn State, but the over of 47.5 this weekend. Obviously, depending on rain, we'll see what happens, but I think it's going to be points fest. Hopefully, both teams keep it close and it's a fun matchup. All right, let's go to sort of an ACC matchup. Not really. Louisville and Notre Dame. Notre Dame barely survived. I don't even remember who it was last week. I shouldn't say barely survived. They had kind of fought off a lower tier team and barely won, which is not really what you want to see from Notre Dame. I'm not really too keen on what Louisville is going on, but to me, this has Louisville written all over it.
Yeah, I agree. This Louisville team is actually very good. They just beat Georgia Tech, and Georgia Tech is a team that I do really like. If we did a podcast last week, one of my favorite bets would have been Georgia Tech plus 10.5. They actually lost by 11, so that would have been a no-go. But look, Riley Leonard, they played against Miami of Ohio. Actually, it's school that is favored to win the MAC right now. They won 28-3, but Riley Leonard still didn't look great.
It was close the whole time. It was like 17-3.
Threw for one touchdown. Look, he got a lot of yards on the ground. He got 140 yards on the ground with 2 touchdowns.
Oh, wow.
But I can't. That's not sustainable in my opinion. And against a solid Power 4 defense, I don't think that's going to be sustained.
And he's not known to be a running quarterback anyway, right?
Correct. Yeah, he's kind of like that guy, like almost Drew Allard-ish. Probably a little more versatile than Drew Allard, but I like Louisville in this game, and I believe the line right now is 6.
That's what it says on ESPN.
I'll take Louisville plus 6.
Yeah, I like it. Moving down to a Big 12 matchup, Oklahoma State, Kansas State. We already talked about Kansas State getting railed by BYU last weekend. So Oklahoma State, right? I know Kansas State is 4.5-point favorite, but it is in Kansas State. So
you're crazy. No, I'm just kidding. I
like to drive fast.
This is kind of that weird. This is kind of that weird like bounce back game, in my opinion. I think this Oklahoma State team has struggled, and they have struggled getting Ollie Gordon the ball in space with holes.
That quarterback is bad.
Correct. I think that this Oklahoma State team might be the worst ranked team at the moment. I really do believe that.
They're playing one of the other matchups / candidates for that.
Correct. I think Kansas State takes this game down. I do think they cover, and I think they actually cover pretty handedly. I could possibly see this being a double-digit win for Kansas State, but I just think as long as they lock up the center, play decently on the defensive line and stop Ollie Gordon from rushing for 150 yards, which he hasn't done almost all year, I'll take Kansas State and Avery Johnson.
Yeah, I like that too. I'll rock with you on Kansas State. And then another Big Ten matchup. You love BYU and the Cougs, so are they going to take down Baylor this weekend on the road? We were just talking about home underdogs.
Correct. We were just talking about home underdogs. I am staying away from this game at the moment.
Actually, Baylor's favorited. I'm sorry.
Correct. That's what I thought you meant. Yes. We have the home unranked team as a favorite. Smells a little fishy to me.
That's what I meant.
I think most public people are going to be on BYU because they look at FanDuel and DraftKings and they're like, ranked plus team sign. As a plus sign? Like, I'll take that all day. I'll put it on the money line, actually.
That's probably what I'm going to do.
It is these really weird games, I feel like. And you can quote me, and this could be the worst take of all time. It is these very strange games where a lot of people are going to be taking BYU on the money line or Baylor on the spread, that this game's going to end Baylor winning by 1 or 2. The books always find a way to make it happen, and you can flip this if you want, but I wouldn't be shocked if they win a game 28-27. Baylor does. But I'm going to stay away from this for the time being.
I like it. That would be funny, though. I will probably bet Baylor, though, if they're the plus money on Saturday morning. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
If they're ranked team plus sign, you just told me that, and I will still do it. It's okay.
Sounds about right.
Yeah. All right, Davis, let's get to your picks of the week.
Yeah, I mean, we'll just do it quickly. I mean,
I added Davis's LinkedIn picture, so shout out that.
I already gave you Kansas State, so I'm circling in my on my computer right now. I'm circling it. You can't see it, but I'll take Kansas State in this one. Washington
Nice.
Rutgers. Ethan, I told you before the season that Rutgers is a very good team. We actually have a lunch bet on right now, which is going to be crazy. I forget what it is, but I took Rutgers and you took someone else. I don't know what team you took to have more wins, but this Rutgers team looks little feisty. They actually have one of the top 5 best rushing offenses in all of college football right now. I'll take Rutgers to win by a field goal or more.
Wow. Okay, I was kind of surprised to hear that.
Yes, I mean they are ground and pound this year, and we're about to do the NFL, but I'll do a preview on these 2 games. On both of these, Rams at the Bears and the Saints at the Falcons. Even underdogs are just killing it right now in the NFL. And it's very strange, some of the trends that I am seeing. Underdogs under a field goal have been tremendous. Favorites between a spread of 3.5 and 6.5 have been amazing. They've covered almost every single game this year. Look at the Bills last night. And then dogs of a touchdown or more have been tremendous also. So we're seeing 2 of these games here where we're seeing that dog that's a slight underdog. I'll take both the Rams and the Saints. Probably do somewhat of a teaser to get them over 7 points as well. It'll decrease the odds, but I'll take the Saints and the Rams this week.
I like that, Davis. And let's just jump into the NFL since you got us ready. But let's recap week 3 real quick. Just start with the Eagles, I guess. They won.
They won.
They won. I'm kind of glad we didn't do a podcast last week because I think we would have been a little too negative on the Eagles. I didn't think they were going to win this game. I didn't think they were going to win this game before, during, after. I didn't think they were going to win this game. It was ugly. It was disgusting. It was, I mean, there was another word for disgusting that makes you want to puke.
Putrid.
Like putrid. Yeah, that was putrid. Nick Sirianni, that seat was so hot for a second at the end of the first half. It was blazing hot. 4 straight trips to the Saints territory of their field, and they didn't get any points. They had an interception, a fumble, and 2 fourth down stops in a row on those 4 straight trips to end that first half. No points, nothing. It was honestly a disgrace. Their play call to end the first half was pretty silly. They went for it on 4th and 2 with 10 seconds left and didn't get it. I don't understand why they didn't just drain the clock down and kick the field goal. Really, really silly stuff. But on the flip side, Saquon Barkley went crazy in the second half and we won this game. So I don't know how to feel. Where do we which side is more true? I don't know.
I think we won the game on the field. This is a game we won on the field, not off the field. I think we're seeing it in the NFL right now that a lot of these underdogs are playing really well. And sometimes you just have to win the game off the field to give your team on the field an advantage.
Look at these 2 games underneath, the Broncos and the Panthers taking care of business.
Correct. 100%. Ethan, we punted on our first drive and we went 5 possessions in a row where we didn't punt, but we didn't score any points. That is insane. Ethan, at one point in the 4th quarter of this game, we were losing 3-0. Jalen Hurts had over 225 passing yards. Saquon Barkley had 150 rushing yards, and we had 0 points. I think the way this game was managed was horrendous. Look, the first time the Eagles went for it in the second quarter, we were at about the 20-yard line and it was like 4th and 2. We didn't get it. It happens, and I understand. It was right at the end of the half, and Sirianni knew we were getting the ball back. But then in the third quarter, why are you going for it at the 40-yard line and on like 4th and 5, where you're going to give the Saints amazing field position? And not only that, later on in the game, you ended up kicking the 57, 60-yarder, whatever it was, and Jake Elliott missed it. I don't blame that on Jake Elliott.
No, hell no.
You're getting put in a tough situation where, look, in Jake Elliott's eyes, he's saying, coach doesn't trust me. Why is he not putting me out there?
Flat out.
Jake Elliott has been one of the best kickers in the league since his appearance in 2017. I think this Eagles team and this coaching staff really, they need to take one of those Aaron Rodgers trips. because I don't know how Aaron Rodgers did it, but the Eagles coaching staff and probably Howie Roseman too, they need to just take a deep breath, figure it out, and trust their team on the field because we have the talent.
I love what you just said, Davis. We have the talent. It's not being used correctly. It's going to drive me up a wall. They have another big game this week against the Buccaneers. That it's too early for this. That's all. It's too early. And the worst thing is they just completely picked up from where they left off last year. Obviously, 2-1, you can't complain. But I am complaining. This is bullshit.
Yeah, and I think you're very okay with saying that, especially how the game ended on Monday night last week. I mean, Ethan, the Eagles ended up playing a horrendous 4-5 quarters of football coaching-wise in a row.
Yes.
In a row. We had 5 horrendous coaching quarters.
Yep.
The only reason we got out of our rut is because Saquon Barkley decided to rush for a 67-yard touchdown. The play after Devontae Smith got crunched
knocked out
in a play that was, in my opinion, and trying not to be as biased as possible, pretty ugly. And I immediately texted my dad saying, this is a part of the reason why I am slowly fading away, very, very slowly fading away from football, because it is just so sad to see these guys get so hurt and literally put their bodies on the line. And it's like, oh, replacement, Johnny Wilson, come on in, 4th round draft pick. It's like, it is crazy to me, and everything with the CTE and everything with these new Guardian caps that no one's wearing. I mean, I don't know how they're going to do it. It's actually been stuck on my mind since the Devontae Smith hit about how, hey, maybe in 20 years when we have families and children, we're not on Sunday watching tackle football. Maybe we're watching 7-on-7 flag football, and no one's going to like that. But it is insane to think about, in my opinion, how these guys put their bodies on the line. I could never do it, and that's why they get paid the millions and the bucks. Yeah. But it's sad to watch. It really is.
It is. Because, I mean, Devontae got hit, and if you saw the replay, it hasn't been confirmed, but I think he gets knocked out. Like, his body –
and look at
Tua. His body gives up. You see, the Tua stuff for sure.
Devontae Smith did that thing with his hand that is a immediate, your brain immediately is putting you in self-defense mode.
He's a receiver, and his hands were on the ball, and then they just go limp. You see it. And then to top it off, a Saints player may or may not have spit on him, and it looks like that there was a lot of other dirty talk on the field because we saw Jalen Carter going nuclear at the end of the game, talking his shit as he should. He played a phenomenal game.
Tremendous.
There was film that came out yesterday and Sunday that looked like, or yesterday, Monday, whatever, the same day, that looked like he was dominating. The dude was everywhere. He deserved to talk his shit, but also the Saints look like they were playing dirty. And you're right, Davis. I mean, it doesn't belong in games like that when this game has already been severely penalized because of the craziness in the past, because of the Saints and Bounty Gate, because of all the other stuff. So it's sad, but also you're not going to watch Red Zone on a Sunday if it's on. Come on.
It's football. I mean, we all love it. It's literally I live and breathe for Saturdays and Sundays, obviously in the fall and the winter. So do you, and so do millions. But it's just been in the back of my head, and I don't like sharing.
Yeah, I don't blame you at all. So let's zip through some of these games real quick. The Broncos and the Panthers stun their respective opponents. The Broncos, I honestly feel like was more the shocking upset, Davis. This was, I mean, the Panthers kicked the Raiders' ass, but this was thoroughly an ass kicking. The Buccaneers were not in this for a second. Bo Nix looked good. Which were you more shocked by?
The Broncos, for sure. Yeah. The Broncos' offense has looked limp all year, and Bo Nix actually looked pretty decent. I think this definitely shows also more of the fact that I think the Buccaneers are fraudulent at this point than the Broncos being good. I don't think the Broncos are very good. We'll actually maybe flip this scenario in the next game we talk about, but I don't think the Broncos are very good, and I think the Buccaneers are a team that they need to figure something out because their offense hasn't looked tremendous other than Chris Godwin. Rashad White is losing touches. Bucky Irving will be the starting running back by week 12.
I saw a couple plays on him on red zone, and you just saw like he's just better. I don't know what it is. He's just better.
But I think this was an ugly game to follow for no reason other than a lot of survivor picks were on the Buccaneers this week.
Yeah, tough sledding for the survivor picks. Panthers Raiders. I feel like this one was a little bit more easy to choreograph, just because Andy Dalton coming in, he hasn't looked terrible in the last couple of years. For those who have actually been paying attention, so for him to come in and play like that is crazy. But also, he was the first quarterback this year with a 300-yard, 3-touchdown performance. So, I mean, the Red Rifle still has it. The Red Rocket, whatever you want to call it, the dude still has it. Let's move on to this next game, though. Lions-Cardinals. The Lions get a nice win against Arizona. Arizona, I just wanted to mention this game because I think Arizona is very, very frisky this year. Oh, yeah. Really, really frisky. That defense isn't bad, and then that offense is scary. Like, Kyler might be back to, like, rookie of the year Kyler. Like, he's looked really, really, really good this year. It helps that having Marvin Harrison for sure. But what did you think about this game?
I don't think this is a college offense that Cliff Kingsbury has been known for running. I know that the Cardinals have also been known for having amazing Septembers and then blowing apart. But I agree. I think Kyler Murray, ever since he came back from injury last year, he's looked really good. And now he has weapons on the side of Marvin Harrison Jr. that he utilized a decent amount in the last 2 weeks now. So I think this Cardinals team can be decent. This isn't their year, in my opinion. They don't have the defense to do it. But I would not be shocked if this is a team in the next year or two that we start talking about.
Agreed. That's basically what I wanted to highlight. And then the Lions, they're continuing to be the Lions. Mm-hmm. The Chiefs continue to be the Chiefs. They have looked bad, straight up bad the first 3 weeks. And they're 3-0. So that just tells you all you need to know about the Chiefs.
Yeah, they've been in every game. I mean, you have to give them credit. They are alive in every game, but each game came down to basically the last snap.
Yes.
This was actually the first game that did not come down to the last snap, and it ended in 3 kneels. So very interesting. I think the Falcons had so many opportunities to pull away in this game, and the Chiefs defense found a way to actually stay alive a little bit. Yeah.
I think the Falcons have lost some of their stink, but, losing that game is still pretty stinky. Yeah. Ravens, Cowboys. Love seeing the Cowboys lose 2 weeks in a row. Love it. This felt like a foregone conclusion because the Ravens had to back something against the wall, not wanting to go 0-3. They did almost blow this game, but, shout out to the Ravens for winning.
Yeah, Dallas ended up they were down. They ended up actually scoring 19 points in the fourth quarter to the Ravens 0 to make this a 3-point game. So it was a little misleading, but the Ravens still had to go down the field and get a first down to end the game, and they did. But I think I told you earlier this year I'm down on both these teams, and I think this game probably proved that a little bit.
100%. I didn't realize the Ravens have like the most blown lead since 2020 by a very big margin. So not great. I didn't really want to mention the Bills game this Monday Night Football. I just wanted to say they killed the Jags, and the Jags suck.
Josh Allen might be back.
It might be better than back. And then Commanders, Bengals. Bengals are 0-3, and Jane Daniels is really, really good. That throw to Terry McLaurin in the corner of the end zone.
Yep. That throw was crazy. Look, I think
crazy.
We could talk about the Commanders for a while, in my opinion. Yeah. Maybe start peeking at some Jaden Daniels offensive rookie of the year. Who knows? But
I agree.
I'll turn to the Bengals for 20 seconds and say, look, they're off to a cold start, but they lost week 1 against the Patriots. It happens. Trust me. We've seen crazier upsets probably already this year. And then they lost a game that they probably should have won in Arrowhead and then lose to this frisky Commanders team. I'm not counting out the Bengals whatsoever.
I might be.
I am not counting them out just yet, but I'm also not counting out the Washington Commanders, now tied for the lead in the NFC East with the Eagles. We're only 3 weeks in. But I will tell you right now that the Washington Commanders will have a better record than the Dallas Cowboys by the end of the year.
Oh, put your money where your mouth is. I like that.
I don't know if I can find that anywhere, but I'll say it right now. I
like that a lot.
I really do.
I like that a lot. Yeah, shout out to Jane Daniels. We can talk about them more in a minute. Let's just quickly run through this week, Davis, in the NFL. This Thursday, Cowboys, Giants. Do you like the Giants at all?
I actually do a little bit.
Really?
This seems like a very trap game. Everyone's talking about Dallas. Everyone's saying, oh, look, they came back. The Giants stink. Giants actually didn't play too bad against the Cleveland Browns. The Cleveland Browns looked horrible, by the way. I just want to let everyone know.
Yes.
They look awful. But Daniel Jones and Malik Neighbors made it work. And guess what? Devin Singletary is not as bad of a running back as some people think.
Agreed.
And the Giants defense can get to Dak Prescott here. Let's not forget, Dallas has a bottom 5 offensive line for the first time maybe ever this year. I think that this Giants team can make it a frisky game. I'll take the +6.
Yeah, I like that a lot too. Let's go through some of these games a little rapid fire style. Just tell me your bet or your side of it. Jets Broncos.
I'll take the Jets. It's 7.5 is tough. Probably a stay away. If anything, definitely the under.
Yeah, I like that too. I'm with the Jets. Bengals Panthers. Can the Bengals get a win?
I think they do. I think they get their first win and break out of the slump here. I'm all about Andy Dalton and the Panthers. I think you could actually start maybe thinking about some possible, Christmas money on Panthers to win the division. That number is probably like 20-1. If Andy Dalton's playing quarterback, they looked actually pretty good. Just saying. Who's good in that division? Who's good in that division?
Atlanta, New Orleans.
They're 1-2. Okay, New Orleans is good. New Orleans is good. I get you.
Atlanta's pretty good.
They're 1-2. So are the Panthers.
So is Baltimore.
Right there. They're
so is Baltimore.
100%. I don't think Baltimore will win the division.
That's crazy. This is full of the hot takes.
I am not telling you it's going to happen. I just think
it feels like you are.
Last year, Andy Dalton played one game last year, and he did the same thing: 300 yards, 3 touchdowns.
It's true.
We've seen 2 Andy Dalton games that have looked better than any Bryce Young game ever, and this team looks different when Andy Dalton
2
plays.
games, 2 seasons apart.
Correct.
He has to play games back to back and stay healthy through those 2.
And this week might be a time for Andy Dalton to prove that.
I'm not saying he's gonna be bad. He has to stay healthy. That's the problem.
For sure. I'm just saying, don't count him out.
That's
but
fair.
I'm going to stay away from the spread in this game. This line's already moved 2 points towards Carolina, and for a reason.
Okay. All right. I like the Bengals for sure. Eagles Buccaneers, betting wise.
I'm going to take the Eagles. I mean, if you look at it, the Eagles just beat probably the hottest team in football at home in New Orleans. Now they're going to Tampa Bay, who's coming off this crazy loss against the Broncos where they did not look good. I was talking about rebound games in college football. I don't think that comes true as often in the NFL. These are all professionals. Any team can win on any given day, but this Eagles team may have just lit a fire last week.
I think so.
The Buccaneers also may have dwindled a little bit when it comes to confidence. I think the Eagles do win this by a field goal or more.
Yeah, it's definitely a trap spot for the Buccaneers. Rams, Bears. The Rams are decimated, but they still beat the Niners last Sunday in kind of a comeback, heroic win. Shout out to McVay for getting a win when they needed it, but the Bears really need one here.
Yeah, this is before the season. This is my NFC West champion here, the Los Angeles Rams. They look good. Yeah. I'm going to take them +2.5, and I definitely think about them on the money line. Caleb Williams might be one of those guys that takes their first year off as a rookie. There's a lot of talk about why are we, even Tom Brady said it, why are we playing these rookies right away? There's no
fair,
reason.
But who is Chicago going to play? Bagent?
No, they would just get like an Andy Dalton. Like, I'm not saying Andy Dalton, but like get an Andy Dalton, a guy who's been in the league for a while. Get Tannehill, 100%. No one is ever thinking. These are rookies all believe that they're going to start now. Look at even like Will Levis came in after Ryan Tannehill, but look how bad Will Levis looks right now. He might be the worst quarterback in football. And Bryce Young has already
been benched.
He's diminished his early career because he got thrown in the spotlight.
Yeah.
Trevor Lawrence did the same thing when he started his career. I think the Rams do take this, and I don't know. I can't get behind the Caleb Williams hype just yet still. I don't think this is the game people are waiting for.
He's almost there. Coaching might be holding him back more. But, yeah, I agree. I think the Rams are probably the smart play betting-wise. Saints, Falcons. We just talked about these 2 NFC South teams. I like the Falcons here. I think that they are frisky. They got another home game in a row. I said frisky like 9 times tonight, but it's my word of the day. I do like Kirk Cousins. I do think the Falcons have gotten rid of their stink. Go Falcons.
I think the Saints defense just looked really good again against the Eagles. As I said earlier, my best bet, I'll take the Saints here and tease them up with the Rams to get them both over a touchdown. I just think this game stays close, in my opinion.
I agree. Houston, Jacksonville. The Texans got embarrassed by Minnesota last Sunday, straight up. So did the Jaguars and Buffalo, but I think the Texans rebound, and I kind of love the Texans -7. Usually it's tough to do a touchdown, spread in the NFL, like you had said earlier, but I love the Texans.
Yeah, this is tough. This line's already moved 4 points. I think we're too late to the ball game, unfortunately.
Yeah.
It would have been nice to grab him under a touchdown and hit that awesome ROI that's happening this year of teams favored between a field goal and a touchdown. But if you had to make me pick one, I'll take the Texans -7.
Okay. Speaking of the Vikings, they were a 5-point underdogs when this line opened against the Packers. It is now 2.5. The Vikings, they're 2.5-point dogs in this game, but they might be a top 3 team in the NFL right now. The defense has looked lights freaking out. Darnold, to say the same. I think the Packers are just as good team. The defense has gotten a lot better. They've revamped it for sure, but Jordan Love might be coming back a little injured. We'll see.
I'll try to follow the trend and pick the Vikings here at that weird +2.5. But if anything, I would much rather pick the under. I think that divisional opponents, when they play each other, unders hit like almost 60% of the time.
That's huge.
I don't know exactly what the over-under is off the top of my head of this game. If I had to guess, it would be around like 43-ish, 44-ish. But I'll take the under.
That's already gone.
I got it. I'll find it.
Where'd it go? I lost it. Oh, there it is. It's 43.5.
Of course. What did I say? 43, 44.
Nice.
I'll take
This kid knows his stuff, ladies and gentlemen.
21-17. Well, you're muted, Ethan.
I got muted. It's all right. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we had some lag there. It's all right. We're back.
There. Steelers Colts. This game is ugly, Davis. Straight up ugly.
This game is really ugly.
The Steelers are really good, though. What do you think?
Yeah, the Colts do not look good. They look horrendous, actually. The Anthony Richardson does not look like the pass. He actually does look like the passer we all thought he was going to look like. And then, he had all this hype around him. I'll take the Steelers, the -1.5 here. I just think they win, and I think it's going to be another low-scoring game for both teams.
All right. Tell me what you're thinking about this Patriots-Niners game. The Niners with the spread?
I'm telling you, dogs have looked good at these type of spreads when it comes to pretty close to 10. I know the Patriots, it's saying their best number is 9.5, but that's not possible if the Niners' best number is 10. So I'll take the Patriots +10 here. It's going to be on FanDuel at -110, if just doing the quick math here. I'll take the Patriots. We've already seen this line move towards the Patriots, and I think that Jacoby Brissett definitely can be a little frisky off of a 49ers team that have definitely been coming off some tough games the last 2 weeks.
Agreed. All right. Sorry. My dock just powered.
Oh, we've got some more lag.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah. I'll go through it with you. We got Commanders, Cardinals. Cardinals have moved up past a field goal on looks like almost every book. Ethan, who do you think? Do you think the Cardinals take it by more than a field goal? Or are you taking the hot shot Jaden Daniels?
I'm not going to lie, Davis. This is the area where people are going to get all over the Commanders because of that Monday Night Football game. And I'm going to flip. I love the Cardinals in this game. The Cardinals, I think, like I said, are frisky, but I think they're above that. I think they're approaching good-ish level. And this is the kind of game a good-ish team wins against a lesser opponent at home. I like the Cardinals.
Yep, I agree. I'll take the Cardinals as well. They're at that weird spot.
I love this next game.
Yeah.
Yes. I love this next game. This is completely dependent on Justin Herbert playing for sure. He has plantar fasciitis in his foot and a very high ankle sprain that I think might be higher than the high. So the dude is playing hurt. So if it's Heineke, do you love the Chiefs with the points?
It sounds so weird. All these weird backup quarterbacks coming in. They actually have been performing pretty well. But I will take the Chiefs, the -8 right here. I just think this is a spot where the Chiefs finally, it sounds weird to say, but gets out of their rut of close games, and they're 3-0. But I think the Chiefs get out of their rut. This Chargers team has not looked very good. I'll take the Chiefs.
Yeah, I like it too. But this is a not so yet game of the year. When these two teams play later in the year, it might be very exciting, but not quite yet. I want to see Harbaugh beat the Chiefs. I just want to see quotes and all that stuff. Browns and Raiders. I don't know. These two teams both kind of stink. They're both disgusting.
This is an ugly 425 game. The Raiders are in talks of already switching their quarterback. The locker room did not take this loss too well last week against Carolina.
Isn't this decisions are going to be made?
Because of that, I'm going to take the Browns. I'll take the Browns, the +1 money line as well. The money line is probably going to come out to about +100. Look, the Browns look terrible. The Browns look absolutely terrible, but this is not a spot where I want to be rooting and putting my hopes on the line with Las Vegas and Antonio Pierce, a guy who I do not trust at coach. I'll take Kevin Stefanski, the better coach on the sidelines.
Everything you just said, I second for sure. All right, this Sunday night game is going to be really good, I think. Bills and Ravens. The Ravens are 2.5-point favorites at home, as they probably should be. But this is the Bills' first test of the year. The Ravens have been tested a little bit so far, going into Dallas and going into Arrowhead, but they have a really, really, really big test early in the year, taking the Buffalo Bills at home. This is going to be a close game. What do you think?
This feels like I said the same thing about the Bengals. This could be their week to get their first win and just kind of have a comeback. And I think the Ravens are due. I really do.
Yeah.
Obviously they've had 3 very tough weeks. Last week wasn't very tough. They really should have.
Sort of.
Yeah, they had 3 pretty tough weeks in a game last week that shouldn't have gone down the wire that it did.
Yeah.
That did. This Bills team, they can stay hot all year and go 17-0, but that's never going to happen. And
I was going to say, yeah,
we're going to see a Josh Allen stinker at some point. I honestly think it happens this week. I already benched him in my one league, in the Elder League. I put Geno Smith in because I think this Ravens defense could eat this week, and I think Derrick Henry could eat too. And Lamar Jackson, I'll take the Ravens at that -2.5.
Yeah, that spread might be just close enough that I might not bet it, but I might. We'll see. But I like the Ravens, though. But I don't know. Josh Allen's giving me major Tom Brady vibes with, I don't need a number 1 receiver. I need very average receivers, actually, and you need to get out of my way kind of thing. So that's kind of the scary part. So I don't know. I think this is going to be interesting. Take the over. Make it fun.
Doubleheader Monday night.
Oh, yeah. Monday night, Titans-Dolphins. Disgusting game. I think this might be Tyler Huntley starting for the Dolphins.
Yeah.
So this might be a really weird game. Who knows? Might be fun. But like you said, Will Levis is really bad, and the Titans are showing it.
If Tyler Huntley plays in this game, I love the Dolphins. I absolutely love the Dolphins in this game. If he plays, all they need is a quarterback that's going to get the ball in Tyreek Hill's hands. And
this guy's a pick 'em when it was a 6.5-point spread.
Yeah, I mean, when this line opened, when Tua was healthy, but I mean, I'm going to take the Dolphins with the stipulation that Tyler Huntley does play.
I like that a lot. I think Huntley could be very underrated for them. We'll see, though. He might just be bad, but he was a backup who was a Pro Bowler 2 years ago, so I'll never forget him. Forget him. And then the Monday night main eventer, the Seahawks and the Lions. This might be a very interesting game, Davis. I think that the Seahawks, people are just forgetting that they're 3-0 and that they're looking really good with a new coach. Seahawks, this might be a spot that they finally lay down the law of who they are this year. But I don't know. The Detroit Lions at home, Monday night, like we already said, it's a main event spot. What do you think?
It's tough. I mean, we're seeing this line here at 3.5.
It's an interesting line.
3.5. More of the money is coming in on the Lions. I know it says it opened at 5.5, but that was a few weeks ago. This line opened at 3. It's kind of at 3.5 now, and a lot of the money is on Detroit. I just don't know if I can trust them yet. To be completely honest with you, they're going through some injuries. They lost a game. They lost last week, right?
Yes,
we talked about that. Yeah, they lost a game last week. They shouldn't have lost it. No, I'm sorry. They beat the Cardinals. They beat the Cardinals last week.
Yeah, but they lost to Tampa Bay last week. I thought you were talking about.
Correct. At the moment, if it sticks at this 3.5, I kind of want to pick Seattle, but I think if we stay away, I think this is going to be an offensive, not shootout, but pretty close.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Geno Smith isn't the sexy name, but I agree. DK Metcalf has looked really good so far. Without Kenneth Walker, like you said, Seahawks have looked a little lackluster, but I don't know. This could be a very, very fun Monday Night Football game. Let's, bet the side of the team that you think is going to win, but 3.5 eek.
I'll take.
If it
I like
stays at
the
that,
plus. I just like the plus 3.5 in a game
I
like
agree,
this.
100%. It's hard to pass down 3.5. All right, Davis. Sunday slate is set. I'm very much looking forward to it. And before we get out of here, let's talk a little baseball real quick. Dude, the Phillies, they finally won the NL East. This is something I've been wanting for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
The division, it feels different because we beat out the Mets, we beat out the Braves, we beat out the Nationals and the Marlins.
Yeah.
We're the kings of the East. But that also puts a target on our back because we will be either the 1 or the 2 seed. And I think we might play the Diamondbacks week or round 1 or NLDS or whatever that is. But how are you feeling about the Phillies right now?
Yeah,
They're losing to the Cubs, but
they are. It's all right. This is a classic betting spot where they, team clinches, they party all night, and then you bet against them the next day. It happens all the time. It's going to happen a few more times this year. So look into that. If team clinches, go the other side tomorrow, the next day. We're at the final stretch of baseball, and I can't wait. And the Phillies, they still have something to play for, which I'm hoping that doesn't get lost in the sauce here. That they still are playing for the 1 seed, obviously, and. At some level, we actually might be if the Brewers start playing well, we could drop to the 3 seed. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but it's a possibility. Just got to end the year strong, and
there's just enough time for that. Yeah,
we'll talk playoff baseball once it comes a little closer. But this AL wild card is crazy right now.
Yeah,
we have the freaking Detroit Tigers, who are the hottest team in baseball by far, actually in a playoff spot right now. When they sold at the trade deadline, they just brought up Jackson Jobe. He is one of the top prospects in all of baseball for the end of season run here and most likely the playoffs. But it's baseball season, man. During the week, give me baseball between Tuesday and Thursday, and give me football every other day because I'm trying to stay locked into baseball, but October is lurking. It's crazy how much attention baseball is going to start getting again shortly.
100%, and this is going to be a star-studded MLB playoffs too. We're going to get all of the guys in it. Hopefully, the Kansas City Royals are still in it because Bobby Witt is a stud for them too. But yeah, Davis, I'm really looking forward to the MLB playoffs. I'm really curious to see who we match up against. But regardless, I think the AL will be fun. Like you said, the Tigers are hot. The Orioles have kind of fallen off since they were the first half of the year start. It was really hot. But what's fun is a lot of these AL teams are still fighting for it in the last week, which is exactly what you love to see. But yeah, I'm really excited for these wild card games to start during like the 3 o'clock, 2 o'clock hour, middle of the day. I get to watch the Brewers and the Diamondbacks fight it out, and just like a disgusting wild card game like that. That's what I want. That's exactly what I want. You know what I mean?
I completely agree with you.
Oh, Davis, the Phillies are in a good spot. They're in, I think, for the first time, kind of the front seat of the National League. But those Dodgers are lurking. They have to get that 1 seed, dude. Have to.
Nah, I wouldn't say have to. I don't want to put that pressure on them. I mean, to be completely honest with you, it sounds crazy.
6-hour time difference, or 3-hour time difference, if we got to go play LA in an NLCS
obviously,
series, you know what I mean?
NLCS wise, yes, of course, we want to have that 1 seed and have those 4 games at home instead of 3. Yes. But Ethan, if you want me to be completely honest with you, the way the MLB playoffs have shaped up the last 2 years since this expansion, we need to get out of the NLDS. So I'm not worried about the NLCS. Let's get out of let's see who we play. Let's watch very nicely on our couches and sofas for the wild card and see who we play in the NLDS.
That is a fact. The teams that get the what do you call it? I want to call it a bye.
0-4.
Yeah, technically the teams that get the bye, they just lose in the NLDS. So the Phillies cannot let that happen, especially if we're playing Arizona. Do not let it happen. No.
Not again.
Not again. All right. So we're coming down to the last week of September, Davis. The best week, I would say it's the second best sports month of the year. I think March might be still number 1. I think
it's close.
Right? It's close. We might have to talk about that on a podcast, but
we'll go through it next time.
Yeah, October's close. Enjoy this time. We got football, we got baseball ramping up. You love it. Love it, Davis. Go Phillies. Go Eagles. Go Flyers in the preseason.
Yes, sir.
Watch Subscribe, like, share, all that stuff. Peace.